Hello everybody, I'm back bringing you 3 more cool video game collector's editions. In this episode, I'm showing a couple of my favorite games that have come out in the last few years, so let's open some boxes. Up first is Demon's Souls Deluxe Edition. This came out in 2009, and if I remember correctly, it was only $10 more than the regular edition of the game. I absolutely love this game, as everyone by now probably knows that's ever heard of it. It's an incredibly challenging experience, very rewarding once you beat it. Now, the Deluxe Edition didn't really come with much. You got special packaging, you got the game, nothing special about the case or anything like that. But the main reason why you would have wanted to buy it is because it came with the strategy guide, and this is the only way you could get the strategy guide. It is very small and compact, but it is filled with a bunch of info. Now, one unique feature about the strategy guide is, like, the first printing of them deteriorated. And when I say first printing, Atlas allowed basically an exchange service. Once they realized that the side spine and some of like the cover started to lose its coloring, you can kind of see on mine maybe right on the side spine, it's a little bit white. They just basically, after a little bit of use, started to deteriorate, and they had this exchange program where you could, I think, rip off the cover of your guide, send it to them, and then they would send you a version of the guide that wasn't going to deteriorate on you. Now, I didn't do that. I kind of regret not doing it. Like I said, the cover on mine is a little bit white in some areas, but I just couldn't bring myself ripping the cover off the guide and then possibly for some reason receiving a guide from them that had like torn pages or like the cover was folded or some crazy shit. So I figured if I just kept mine in as good of shape as possible, not, opening it too wide and using it very often, it would stay together, and it's held up pretty well. I don't plan on, obviously ripping it open or leaving it on the damn floor or anything like that, so hopefully it won't get any worse than it already is. Now, the Deluxe Edition for an open copy can go for anywhere around like the $50 mark all the way up to like $100. It just seems to depend on whatever the cheapest one currently is, like on eBay or whatever. But a sealed one, people ask a ridiculous amount for. I mean, some have sold in the like $200 mark, and some people are asking, well over that. There is a art book and soundtrack that was a pre-order bonus that came with this. I have that. It's in the case back over there. I tend not to show the promo stuff or pre-order bonus stuff when I'm showing these limited edition games because I have that whole other series for promo shit. But if you have that included, like in the auction or sale of it, it tends to raise the price a little bit more because that art book and soundtrack alone seem to go for like around $20 or so. From Demon's Souls, we go on to Dark Souls. This is the limited edition on the 360. Came out in 2011. It's not quite as expensive as Demon's Souls is now. You can get a sealed copy for around $50 or $60, and an open one for like $30 or $40. Now, the limited edition came in a tin case with a slipcover. I already took the stuff out of it to show you guys because the slipcover did not want to come off in a timely fashion while recording before. There's the game, and you get a little credit card-sized card with downloadable content on it. It had the original soundtrack, behind-the-scenes videos, and mini strategy guide. Codes on the back. And you get the Dark Souls art book. It's kind of small, little hardcover art book, but it does have some cool pictures of like the character designs and some of the enemies in there. Some of the interesting facts about Dark Souls Limited Edition is, no, it did not come with the strategy guide like Demon's Souls did, but it did have a badass guide you could buy separately. This thing is nice and thick, tons of content in here, so much info about the enemies in the game. One of my favorite strategy guides I think that's ever come out, and it's sort of sad to see copies of it going for like $10 to $15 on eBay, but it is a badass guide. And another interesting fact is, now with Demon's Souls, it was originally put out in America by Atlas. Now, From Software is the maker of Demon's Souls and Dark Souls, but it sort of sucks because Atlas did such a good job promoting the game, building hype in North America for it, and the sequel, they couldn't afford it. When Dark Souls, was being pitched, I guess, to come out in America, Atlas, unfortunately, wasn't able to afford to put it out here, so Bandai ended up having to put it out here. which sort of sucks. I remember reading an article with, I think it was the president of Atlas or someone high up in Atlas, and basically just saying, we love Demon's Souls so much, and we were so glad that it was so successful, and then it was such a bummer that, we weren't able to do Dark Souls in America, so that is pretty sad. Both games are amazing, though. Check them both out, and if anything, just get this fucking book, 'cause this book kicks ass. The third and final collector's edition I'm going to show in this episode is one that has been asked about many times because people didn't know what the hell it was. So you notice there's an empty hole up here, and this is what you normally see, and everyone's always like, what's that box that has those 3 red lines on it? And it is the Ninja Gaiden 3 collector's edition. Now, I know this game got quite a bit of heat. It's not a lot of people's favorite in the Ninja Gaiden series, but it does have a pretty cool collector's edition, so let's take a look inside. Inside the big box, we have the game. We have a Dead or Alive 5 Alpha Demo downloadable card. We have the soundtrack, which is actually still sealed, and a pretty cool art book, which is a little bit more than just a normal art book. It has like character backgrounds and information on the game, and has a shiny lettering on the front, you can see there. And then there is another box that was in the big box, so let me open this one up. Inside that is this cool little statue fight scene. It's actually called Duel of the Masked. It has this little instruction card with it. And there's this little cardboard backing piece you can set the statue up in front of. So pretty cool collector's edition. You can get this sealed for 50 to 60 bucks, and an open one for $30 or $40. Similar pricing to the Dark Souls limited edition. I wanted to bring up the topic real quick about companies making too many copies of a limited edition. Like with Ninja Gaiden 3, it's only been out for less than a year. Came out in March 2012. And the fact that you can find a brand new sealed copy for less than half of what it was when it originally came out is sort of frustrating. Now, I know this game wasn't the best reviewed. I personally like the Wii U version better. But still, it's a collector's edition. It's supposed to be, harder to find, and I wish more companies would actually do, limited editions in the sense of it's only available for pre-order for a short amount of time, and then they base the production solely off of the pre-orders, and it's even better when they're numbered. It sucks when a game, has a limited edition and it's available for pre-order all the way up until, the day before the game releases, and then they send too many of the limited editions to the store, and they just sit there for 6 months or a year, and they get marked down to next to nothing. I particularly enjoy knowing I have something that is hard to find or is collectible. I mean, shit, that's one of the reasons why I collect games and collect stuff, is because it's fun. It's fun to get the harder or rarer thing. But with Atlas, they just put out not too long ago the solid gold edition of the Persona 4 Golden on PS Vita. That was a very, very limited collector's edition, and there was a frenzy for it, and, it's not necessarily about the price always, it's just the fact of being able to find it. Granted, that one does go for a decent amount of money, but even if it was going for the same exact price it was when it was released, it's still cool to know that, oh, hey, I got a limited edition of something. So that's all I'll rant about that. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I will see you all later. Peace!